I've been inconsistent because I was almost paralyzed by the idea or by the conversation of picking a niche, because I always felt like it's going to box me in, which means that I'm not going to be myself. Like I'm going to be lying to people because I'm going to have so many other things that I love. Is the fact that if you try to help everyone, then you end up helping no one. Let's say I'm a doctor and you need to do a surgery. Would you rather go to, and it's a brain surgery, would you rather go to a specialist brain surgeon, or would you rather go to a surgeon who does brains, toes, hearts? Everybody is called to help a specific group of people, and I truly believe that. One, whether you're an entrepreneur or professional, whatever it is that you do in your field, there is a group of people that you're meant to help and serve. And the biggest thing about conviction for me was the fact that if you're really convicted. So welcome to episode 3 of the creator concept, and today we're going to be speaking about something that I've often struggled with, which is niching down when it comes to creating content. But I'm not alone. I have the one and only Kwanda. Kwanda, what's happening, bro?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, always good. Always good to be chatting. And I think this is going to be interesting because this is something I really struggle with, which is picking a niche, because I always just felt like it boxed me in.
Yeah.
But before we even start, what is a niche?
I feel like a niche is it's pretty simple. It's a big word, but very simple. It's just what suits you.
That's good.
I think that's the best way to explain what suits you and what is in your comfortable zone, or what you're good at, or what you know.
I think that's such a simple explanation. Yeah, that's cool. Some of the explanations I got in terms of content is that a niche refers to a specific focused topic, subject, or category that content is created for. When you create content within a niche, you are targeting a particular audience with specific interests, needs, or demographic. Instead of trying to appeal to everyone, you concentrate on providing valuable, relevant information or entertainment to a smaller, well-defined group.
Okay.
I think that's good.
That is a very
It's a good explanation.
explanation.
Picking a niche is specifically that. And I think obviously picking a niche is something that's very good for your personal brand. And before I even get into that, I want to speak about why I struggled to pick a niche. And I know a lot of other people struggle the same too. I struggled to pick a niche because obviously because of my journey, I've learned so many things. That I love a little bit of what's into the entertainment. I love music. I love dancing. I learned how to film. I love photography. And then I also love business. I love storytelling. I love creating content. I love helping my clients figure out what they need to do. I like to speak about God and what that means to me and my journey. I like to reflect. I like to understand other people's journeys. Just by me saying all of that, you can already tell that is a lot.
From me personally, I know you, so.
But it's because I figured it out.
You just told me, I know, I'm aware of.
But it's because I've found a way now to be able to package it and figure it out. So I think creating content for me, that's the reason why I think I've been so inconsistent, if I have to be very honest. I've been inconsistent because I was almost paralyzed by the idea or by the conversation of picking a niche, because I always felt like it's going to box me in, which means that I'm not going to be myself. I'm going to be lying to people because I'm going to have so many other things that I love and that I'm interested in that I'm not going to show. So it always comes back to the idea of identity, but it always left me like in a very unsure space. But what if I talk solely about finance when I was doing financial planning? What does that mean when I now move into another role? Because that's another thing that I had. At some point, I was just posting finance content. And then I moved from finance to marketing. And it almost feels like I'm going to look like I'm doing too many things to my audience. And I'll be like, can this guy really figure out what he wants to do with his life? Like, why does he have so many things that he's trying to do? And I think picking a niche crippled me in that sense, because I wasn't sure. I think that's why I always tell my wife, who's a psychologist, I feel like life is so simple for you. Because she knows what she does. She knows what type of content she's going to create, who she speaks
Very
to.
simple.
Done.
Standard. No hassles and whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, for example, you might try one business and it doesn't work, and you try a second business and it doesn't work, and maybe your sixth business works. If your first one works, hooray. So I don't know, I think I'm not the only one who has that mindset of what if I start creating a personal brand, and then people look at the things that I post and the things I speak about, and I feel like you're just all over the place.
True.
So yeah, those are some of the blockages I had. Yeah, so that led to procrastination. I always wanted to start something. I started, and I get more fun starting something than completing it, because then in between I'm like,
It's just getting over the hump of starting. That was just basically what happened.
It's true, but I don't mind starting. I love starting things.
Yeah.
That's another problem on its own. Because I always have to restrain myself that no, finish this first before you're trying to go on to the next idea. You know, I love the idea and the fascination of figuring something out, starting it, trying to get it going. Like I don't know. I love it.
That's me editing. I'll edit 2-3 things at the same time without finishing the first one or the second one.
Yeah, you see? So I think over time, when we speak to the idea of creating a niche or getting a niche, I think I was better able to package it. And I think for the people that are listening to this podcast episode, I'm hoping that they can either, if they already have a niche, they can expand on it, or, you know, double down on that specific niche. Yeah. Or if you're struggling to find a niche, hopefully, I'm hoping that if you're listening to this conversation, it leads you into the right direction and you can get as much value as possible with regards to picking a niche. Yeah, I think some of the things that stand out, I'll just quote some things that I think I heard and really helped me, is the fact that if you try to help everyone, then you end up helping no one.
That's deep.
Yeah, so if I'm trying to be a jack of all trades, and if you want to come do, let's say I'm a doctor and you need to do a surgery, would you rather go to, and it's a brain surgery, would you rather go to a specialist brain surgeon, or would you rather go to a surgeon who does brains, toes, hearts, and da-da-da-da-da? Or do you want to go to a person who's specific, who's like, hey, I deal with complicated brain surgeries. I don't want anything else to distract me. That's what I want to be known for. Who would you rather go to?
I think I'll go for the brain specialist, because now the one that does the other thing is gonna think the artery is in the brain.
But so exactly that. So that's how I looked at it. That if I try to help everyone, then I'll end up not helping anyone, because I'm trying to be relevant to everybody else.
For sure.
But the person I'm really trying to help is another version of me. A person who's, for example, struggled with picking a niche. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that stood out to me, that when I was told. The other thing is that everybody is called to help a specific group of people. And I truly believe that. Yeah. One, whether you're an entrepreneur or professional, whatever it is that you do in your field, there is a group of people that you're meant to help and serve. And the biggest thing about conviction for me was the fact that if you're really convicted about who you want to help, then there should be people who love what you do and people who hate what you do. It took me a while to get that, because, sometimes...
Can you say that again?
If you're truly convicted about the people that you want to help, then there should be people who love what you do and people who hate what you do.
Okay.
Because a truly convicted person is not supposed to impress everyone.
Yeah.
A truly convicted person is there for the people they're there to help, whether you like it or not. And I feel like if you're a people pleaser and you're not so convicted, you're going to try and get everybody to love you.
Yeah, true.
But if you have an important message that you have for a specific group of people, it doesn't matter what everybody else says. You're just trying to get to those people. So that's what the true message of conviction is. If you look at the example of Christ, for example, people loved him and people hated him. Yeah. But that's what disruption is. He was that convicted about the message that he had to share, that it's like, hey, I don't care. In fact, if there are people who hate you, that means you're doing the right thing. If everybody loves you, chances are you're not so convicted about the message you have. So, I think there's that. And then the other one is you first go deep and then you go wide. If you look at the roots of a tree, they have to go deep. And then before they go wide. So that's another thing that hit me, that, okay, I can still speak about the other areas of who I am and the other things that I love. But I need to double down on being able to educate myself, go deeper in the subject matter that I want to grow in, so that I can fully be equipped to help the people that I want to help.
What's the importance? How deeply or seriously should people take educating themselves within this topic of discussion? Or
I mean, it's what's the lesson? The day you stop learning is the day you die.
fair?
That's for everyone. So I think whatever your subject matter expert or topic is, you should always be learning, because with the introduction of AI, with the introduction of technology and how fast everything is moving, almost your rate of learning almost has to be fast. What did you say? If you finish a medical degree, I think the stat was you're already 6 months behind, because there's already new technologies and new methods that are already being done. So I think going deep in what you're doing is exactly what's important and exactly what's needed in order for you to grow. So yeah, I think that's actually very important. Any thoughts?
I think I believe and agree with everything that you say. It is very important to go deep and wide, to further extend your knowledge when it comes to closing in on that specific niche that you have.
100%.
So yeah, it's important, because you can't if you don't go deep enough, you're not gonna have enough to do. Basically.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's good. So why do we have to pick a niche? So it means that, well, you can take this and apply it obviously in, different areas. If you're studying film or you're studying in general, you eventually have to pick a major.
Yeah.
Or you have to pick something you want to specialize in, because
that's like, but I'm studying film. There's no majors at all. You just do literally everything.
Yeah,
Schools
100%.
Like
That's
where,
that.
where
But yeah. But it's also after you're done with your degree, when it's time for you to go into the market, it's still going to happen. It's going to be like, okay, do you want to be a DOP? Do you want to direct? Do you want to be a focus puller? Do you want to?
Okay,
you understand? You do have to eventually specialize. It's good to know everything, but I think it's good to specialize in something. And I think same thing happens when it comes to content and when it comes to your business, because essentially building a personal brand is that, to some extent, one, you want to become an authority.
Yeah.
Authority is when people think about a subject, your name must pop up. That's what an authority is.
Yeah.
And if I'm a jack of all trades, then there's not many authorities that I'm going to stand out in, because I do too many things. I'm spread too thin. I'm too wide. Whereas if I want to become an authority, then I am going to pick a subject matter that really stands out to me and that I know I can provide the most amount of value for. Now, somebody else might say, well, my market is very saturated. You can always do your best to find a very specific group of people you want to help. So, for example, if you look at fitness is one of the biggest industries.
Yeah.
Okay, then from fitness, you can say, I want to help women. Okay, that's a niche down. Okay, you niching down, you want to help women. From women, you can say, I think I want to help women between the ages of, I think I want to help women who've become moms. Okay, now you've just niched down further. Yeah. Then you niche down even further and say, I think I want to help women who are moms between the ages of 25 to 45. All right.
Those be the ones with the busiest lifestyle.
Yeah. So you're niching down now. It's saturated. You now getting more specific, because I think also the idea is we want to try and help everyone. Like I'm saying, we want to reach everyone. But if you just focus on reaching your specific group of people, you might find that there's so much of them for you to service that you won't even be able to do it alone. So we stopped at between the ages of 25 to 45. Yeah. And now you say, I want to help women who are moms between the ages of 25 to 45 who have a busy lifestyle. Yeah. You've niched down again. Now you actually now starting to stand out in the fitness community, because you're like, you don't introduce yourself as I'm a personal trainer. Now you're able to actually be more specific. You know?
Mom trainer.
Now you say, okay, who have a busy lifestyle. Can you niche down more from that?
You can. I think you can.
You can. Who have a
moms from
25
to
45
that have a busy lifestyle, that only have access to the gym in the evening.
Oh, look at that. That's golden. Oh, look at that. Who don't have access to the gym in the evening. Yeah. Yo, that is ultra niched. So now, just by being able to niche down, you even have your I help statement. Yeah. Hey, I'm Maphumulo. I'm a personal trainer who specifically focuses on helping busy moms between the age of 25 to 45 who don't have access to the gym in the evening.
Yeah.
Now, the person that you are speaking to will recognize you very quickly. Why? Because you've just described them
as a person.
So now it's very easy for them to turn and be like, you are speaking directly to me. Whereas if I'm saying, hi, I'm Mawanda, I'm a personal trainer who wants to get people in shape and is passionate about making sure that people are confident.
That's every personal trainer in South Africa.
100%. Essentially, that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But now you're just niching it down. And what happens? Because you're going to be speaking directly to that person, you are now going to become an authority in a fitness industry.
Sure.
You ultra niched, but ultra niching has made you an authority. Why? Because you are now going to find methods and ways of how can you best help the person that you're speaking to.
Yeah.
And everything that we're doing is not about trying to, what's the word? We have to use this for good. All of these skills, and if you're taking these principles, they have to be done for good. You're not niching down to rob people. You're niching down to understand, okay, how can I best help this person?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the first reason why you want to do that. Two, is so that you can tailor your messaging. I often love the saying that I can sell water. But if I try to sell water next to a shopping mall, I won't make much sales.
True.
But if I try to sell water in a marathon halfway in Kukuwe where there's not a lot of shops, people will be like, yo, man, I'm willing to pay $20 for that water.
Yeah, exactly.
So I look at dialing in your message as that. Dialing in your message means that you have the solution, but sometimes we speaking to the wrong people, even though you have the right solution.
True.
So the message is, if I have the solution, how can I dial in my messaging such to a point that I am speaking directly to the person who I know needs my help?
Yeah.
So
I think it also goes back to doing some things in a very saturated market or saturated topics or niches. If you just market the base of what you're doing and don't go to the right people at the right time or in the right place, you're not gonna, like how you said, selling water next to a shopping mall, you're not gonna make any sales. But selling water next to during a marathon, someone's willing to pay 20 rand. If you do it at the right place, at the right time, for the right people, it's not going to be that saturated of a market that you're selling to.
100%. I love that. So now that also changes the perspective of, is the market really saturated?
Yeah.
Or
are you just not dealing with the right people?
100%. So your messaging is off because your alignment is off in terms of who are you really helping.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason why it's important to pick a niche. And I think the more I started understanding that, the more I started seeing that, okay, in order for me to be able to help the people that I can best help, I need to start dialing in my messages. I help coaches, speakers, entrepreneurs, professionals, and high-level entrepreneurs to create content that helps them build their personal brand and therefore gets them the best opportunities and the best income in the industry.
Fair.
So that's how I was able to get to that. It took me a lot of getting out of, okay, I'm not going to be authentic and I'm not going to be myself if I box myself and I speak to a niche, right? But now I want to talk about some frameworks that we can use to be able to, now that I have my niche, how can I create the content that doesn't make me feel boxed in, and how can I create content that is going to help grow my audience, but also suggest me to the right people? Because also, if you're posting online, at the end of the day, the idea is to build the tribe and to build the community. And how is even the algorithm going to recognize who to send to you if it's not sure who you're speaking to?
True. Because algorithms do listen.
100%,
they try helping you if you know what you're doing, if you know what you want.
And if you don't, the algorithm has no idea who to send you to.
Just going to be your followers that you already have.
Yeah. So I think one of the simplest things is to find out, okay, what are your content pillars? It's always good to break it down into three. Break it down to three pillars. So for example, let's say for me, I know I speak about entrepreneurship and online business.
Yeah.
I speak about personal branding and content creation.
Yeah.
And I speak about personal development holistically. Those are the things that I love. Those are the things that I'm passionate about. And then after I have those 3 pillars, I look at the different, and I'll start creating sections under those. So, okay, what can I discuss under online business? I can discuss platforms. I can discuss strategies. I can interview people who've been successful in that. I can discuss mistakes. I can discuss best practices. Now, just under that one pillar, I've had so many subtopics, and for each subtopic, I can at least get 10 ideas.
True.
I can at least get a minimum of 5 to 10 ideas.
That's like what, 30?
Exactly.
15, 30 thing in total.
In total. So that's the first one. What are your content pillars? But in order for you to also discover your content pillars, I think it also just comes back to the first question of who are you here to help?
It's a very good question. It's a deep question. That's the question that a lot of content creators might not be able to answer if you ask them that.
It's true. Well, content creators is part of it, but I think everybody who's a creator, whether in business, professional, etc., is that who are you here to help? And I think one of the biggest ways to nudge you in that direction is to look at yourself. Chances are the first person you're going to help the best is yourself, based on your journey, based on the things that you've been through, based on your perspective, based on what you've studied, what knowledge you've gained. So that's the person you can be. I can best help. To be honest, I can best help other versions of Mawanda. Yes, other people become a part of it. There's a lot of people who struggle with identity and purpose. There's a lot of people who struggle understanding what are they supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who struggled with insecurities, maybe because of how they look. I'm overweight, I'm whatnot. There's a lot of people who've wanted to build their confidence. There's a lot of people who wanted to understand more about personal development, and they know that they're supposed to do greater, but they just don't have the right mentors and the right people to point them in the right direction. So, don't worry, it's cool. Yeah, to point them in the right direction. So I think I can best help another version of me. There's a lot of people who've once not had a place to stay, had to try and hustle and find their own space, work in an internet cafe, just try to do better in life because they know they're destined for more. That's who I am. I believe there's a lot of people in that. A lot of people who want to grow a business, want to understand more about business, who want to study more about that. So the more I expand on that, I don't know. I think there's different versions of who I am. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but I'm sure there's people who can, in some way, shape, or form, identify with some of the experiences I've had.
True, yeah.
As much as, so I think that's where the big gold is. The gold is the more you look within, the more you realize, okay, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And that's the person I can best serve. And then I think the second part is identifying for these people, where is the gap in the market? I'd be wrong. Like, I'm also like that whole conversation of do you build a profession or do you build a business out of passion and what you love? To some extent, you can get ideas from that, but we have to be honest and we have to look at what the market needs and how can you best serve that person based on what the gaps are in the market.
And based on your skills as well.
And based on your skills, 100%. And then when you have now helped that person in exchange of that value, they pay you, that buys you the time to follow your passions and the things that you love.
Yeah.
I think not everybody is lucky to make money out of what they love. But I think you can customize the opportunities to make them work for what you love and provide value. But yeah, that's a long way to just say, identify who you can best help, then look at content pillars. And I think I like to use this AGA strategy, which, I was calling it GAA. I don't think it sounds cool. I think AGA sounds more memorable. It's a framework called authority, growth, and authenticity.
That does sound cool.
Yeah. So that's one of the frameworks that I use to create content now. One, authority, I speak about topics that I'm learning, that I'm a subject matter on, things that I've learned and how I can help other people. That's authority. If you see content, for me, that speaks, like, for example, this is authority because I'm giving game on how you can break down the way you create content. Growth, that's the second thing. Growth is I'm speaking about what am I learning right now? What areas am I growing in? And I'm sharing that with my audience. The third part is authenticity. Authenticity, I just showcase the things that I love, the things that I like to do, the things that I enjoy, and the experiences I've had, reflections. I reflect, I speak about my thoughts, etc. So that way, I don't just show up as a polished person online. Yes, we have great quality, etc.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But people are actually able to grow with Mawanda in the different phases and stages. At some point, I wasn't a parent, became a parent. I share about that. I share about what I'm learning, a little bit of a glimpse of what my family like is life. I share about the things I'm struggling with. I share about the things that I'm winning in. And that way, I don't feel boxed in anymore. I feel like I'm growing a personal brand and I'm taking my offline reputation and I'm pretty much just bringing it online.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Yeah.
Straight up. There's like no other way to put it, honestly. Which is a lot of things people struggle to do. Online, people like to, how do I say it? They like to portray themselves. Yeah, that's the word, portray. They like to portray themselves as this polished version of a human being. Whereas their lifestyle in the background or in hindsight or off camera, it's not really how you do it. Because like if you look on your internet, when I look at your socials, I see what I see every day when I'm with you or when we're working together. So it's really the best being honest about your life.
Yeah.
Being honest about your life also helps within this topic. Yeah.
I think that's good. But I think the challenge is being honest is also hard because that means when you're honest, you understand that humans are a spectrum.
Yeah.
There are things that they are great at and there are things that they're not great at. That I think the true challenge is understanding both sides of who you are.
Yeah.
These are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, this is where I'm great, this is where I'm not. But being able to be on a spectrum of I recognize this side or I recognize this side, but I'm going to be in the middle or I'll be in touch with whichever side I need to at any given time. But that takes honesty, that takes reflection.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's an easy journey, but I think it's the longer journey to take. And I do think it's a better journey because then that way I can show up honestly on who I am online.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that I'm going to showcase everything about me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to showcase the challenges that I'm having right now necessarily. I don't have to put my family at jeopardy about the things that I showcase.
For sure.
But I can give people a glimpse or a window into my life so that they have an understanding that I'm not a perfect human being. For me, that works for me. I'm trying to build a community. I'm not perfect. I like to share the things that I'm thinking and the things that I'm doing. And I'm hoping that they can add value to you. But also I'm hoping that you can come along in the journey. But I do think that if it's too pretentious, then you're gonna get tired. I don't know. I think playing a role, that's why actors act for 6 months or a year for a role and then they're like, peace.
I think it that is true, but at the same time, it also comes back to when you say that you can't be totally open and honest. You're just giving, you're giving the crowd or your viewers a chance to be or a reason to be Sonda. And what the word Sonda means, the realization that every single human being that you walk by or that you come across has a life as complicated and complex as yours.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just giving them space to realize or giving them the chance to realize that as much as this is my figure right now, I still have this that's going on in my life as well. I'm not going to show you everything. But I'm just showing you what happens on a day-to-day basis, maybe.
100%. And it's not that I'm not being honest. I am very honest as far as possible. I am very honest. But it's about some things I might not be ready to share. And some things not everybody deserves to know. But some things I do think are good learning opportunity for myself and for my audience. So yeah, I think that's the framework, man. Really knowing who you're really here to help. Figuring out, okay, what are my content pillars? And then under those pillars, write the different things that you can speak about within those pillars. And then using the AJA strategy, which is making content about your authority, which is the things that you're great at, your secret sauce, the ways in which you help people. Growth, which is almost tracking with who you are at the time. What are you learning? What are you growing? And what books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to speaking about that? And then authenticity, which is just you sharing more about yourself, your perspectives, your quirkiness. Are you funny? Are you not? You never know. And it's okay if you're not, bro.
it's okay
The
if
whole
you're not
idea
funny.
is that
No,
people need
but
to love you.
God, yeah, no, for real. God didn't. Not everyone can be like Kwanda, and it can't be the funniest guy in the room all the time. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. You won't be funny all the time.
It's okay, bro. It's okay. So, yeah, I think the light bulb for me was that it's good to niche so that you're known for something.
Yeah.
You have to stand for something, and people need to know that. Going back to the whole idea of Simon Sinek, which is start with why. People need to know my why, even though maybe they know that I run 3-4 businesses, but they know that this was his why and this is what he was passionate about. Why? And out of that, the things that I do flow from that. Elon Musk has a why, if, you know. He has a why though.
He has a why.
SpaceX
He has
is
a why.
there, Tesla's
He has a
there.
why. He has a why.
Yeah, there's a couple of other, Richard Branson has his why.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has their why. Vince McMahon has his why. He created one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world, right? Through wrestling. Do you know?
That is a really good example of there.
Yeah. So everybody has their why. Just the manifestation of the things that you get involved in are an extension of that, I like to think. And they also determine how you run your business, how you treat people. And just when people meet you, how do they feel? I think people will feel your why. Whether you're too busy working on inventions, etc., people will just ultimately, feel your why. So, yeah, I hope this was helpful and insightful.
If you're gonna have a niche, just remember to be good to people, man. A lot of people meet their idols and they're not happy with what they see. So
That's why they say you should never meet your heroes or your idols. Yeah, that's why they say you should never meet them.
it's not giving anyone the space to be a bad person, though. Be a good person, man.
Hey man, we hope that people are good people, but if they do things that
We're human.
We're
We're
human.
bound to disappoint each other.
100%.
Yeah.
I think just keep that at the back of your mind. That also sometimes what you see online is a role.
True.
That's how when they hire you for, they say there's a role or position available.
Role.
Because they want you to come play a role, then go home and be what you are to everybody else. But here, we need you to play a role. Yeah. So, I think do give people breathing room and do give people space to say that they might be experts. That's why they say it's good to have more than one mentor.
True.
Because one mentor might be great in marriage, but horrible in business.
True.
And the next one might be amazing in business, which is horrible in marriage. Yeah. So now you can say, okay, from you, I will learn what it's like to build a good family. I will learn about money from you. I'll learn about business from you. I'll learn about the word from you.
Yeah.
It's because I don't think you're going to find everything in one person.
True.
So yeah, the creative concepts, that was interesting.
That was a good episode. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, so guys, please pick your niche, and be known for something. And before we go, people like to ask, what happens if I change the role that I'm doing, but I've been creating content about this? That's where the AGA strategy comes in. That's where the authenticity comes in, because then you get to share with your audience that, guys, I've got a new opportunity. This is what I'm going to be doing, and I'm still going to speak about the role that I was playing because I've learned a lot from that. But in addition to that, I moved from being a soccer player to a fashion designer, and I'm going to be documenting that shit.
Keegan Buchanan.
Is that what happened with Keegan?
No, he's still a soccer player, though, but he has his online.
Bro, but all it is that I think it's just messaging.
Yeah.
How do you tie that into who you are, and how do you bring your audience along on the journey of this is what I'm discovering, this is what I'm doing? Even if it's the total opposite, you could be going from construction worker to a car builder. You know?
From fashionista to construction.
Exactly. Fashionista to construction.
Fashionista to construction.
But I think so long as it's storytelling, and that's where the art of storytelling comes in. How do you bring your audience along? How do you communicate that to them? Because at the end of the day, people fall in love with people.
True.
People buy from people. It just boils down to that. It's just the idea is, do I trust you enough to give you my money?
Yeah.
And if I can trust you to give me my money, then when you move on to something else, it's going to be like, okay, what are you doing now? Construction. I want you to build my house. Just people always need the same needs, but they're just looking for people they trust to buy from.
I'd buy a house from Voitots.
Who's that now? Oh, yeah. Okay, yes.
I'd buy a house from because I already trust them with the brand, you know. So
Yeah. No, but 100%. Yeah. If my closer came out and say, "Yo, guys, we are now doing interior design.
take my money.
Yeah, but you'd be like, you don't even think twice. You'd be like, what?
Take my
I want
money.
closer pillows and duvets,
More kettle.
kettle. Bro, you were like, take it. You're already an authority, but you understand that people are just looking for trust.
Yeah.
Then they're going to take out their money. So even if you do move from one role to another, it's all about, I still have clients now who call me for financial planning. I'm still in relationship with the business I used to work for.
Yeah.
So now they're getting like, yo, I need insurance. I'm like, listen, I'm no longer in the field,
But
but I can connect you and you guys can continue the conversation.
Yeah.
But it's all about trust. It's just they trusted me enough with that. Now that I'm in a different field, it's like now and again they'll still call, hey, can you still help me with this? And obviously I do have a due diligence to make sure that I point them in the right direction, even when I'm not in that. So picking a niche, I think, is just one of the easiest ways to quickly build trust because people can trust you for what you know, and people can trust you for the authority that you are. Even if your niche is figuring out what is your niche.
That's hectic.
Even if your niche is figuring out what is your niche, because I think people often feel that I should have 10 years worth of experience in order for me to have a niche and in order for me to be an authority. But not really. Your niche could be, guys, this is where I am, point A. I'm trying to get to point B. And I want to document my journey of how do I get from point A to point B. And I want you guys to be a part of that journey. And I'll speak about what I'm learning. I'll share about some insights. I'll share about the mistakes that I'm making and how you can avoid those same mistakes. That already is a niche. You don't need to be a guru in something. You're just taking people along that journey.
I think us as the youth, we need someone to get a niche on how to adult, you know, because
a niche on how to adult.
How to be an adult.
I'm hosting a masterclass for the young people who need to know how to adult. It's going to be happening in the next 2 months. It's going to be an online Zoom masterclass. I'm going to talk about the 5 pillars you need to be a high value adult.
Because it's
telling you something.
Nice,
you're going to get married within the next 12 months after this masterclass. That's all I'm saying.
All right. That's a bit too fast now.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for spending time with us. We look forward to having you on the next episode of the Creator Concept, where we discuss what it takes to be a creator and to be phenomenal in your field and what you do. And we'll give you some hacks on how to create the best content, personal development, and just how to grow as a human. It's always been good, Kwanda.
Always has been, always will be. Yeah.
Next episode. Peace.